So we're going to talk about entering data. And we're going to enter data in a way that Excel is going to pick up on the fact that we want to display this data, this content, in certain specific format styles, including currency, fractions, decimals, percentages, scientific notation, and finally we're going to insert some symbols into the worksheet. So entering data, we're going to sort of pick up where we left off in the prior movie, at least as far as the concept of how you enter data into a cell will then determine how Excel formats that cell. Beginning with currency, the default formatting for a worksheet when you open up Excel is the general formatting. It's sort of a boring nondescript formatting. So when I enter the number 1000, Control Enter, Excel stays in the general formatting. It shows the number without any decimal places, without a comma separator. But there's a way to enter numbers that will change the formatting for the cell that you're entering the number into. For currency, if I begin my entry with a dollar sign and then put 1000 in there, Control Enter, Excel stores the number as 1000 like before. If I go up one cell, we see 1000 in the formula bar. Go down, we still see 1000 in the formula bar. But it formats the number, it displays the number as currency. So I have a dollar sign and a comma separator. And we see that this cell is now formatted in the currency format. For fractions, you have to be a little careful. If I want to enter 3/4 into this cell, and I just put 3 divided by 4, which for all intents and purposes is 3/4, Control Enter, Excel thinks I want to enter March 4th of the default, which is the current year, 2013. But that's not what I want to do. I want to enter a fraction. So the way you do that is you enter a 0 space and then 3 divided by 4, Control Enter, and Excel will store that number as a decimal and display it as a fraction. And there's all kinds of different fraction settings that we'll get into in another movie. So we have a fraction that's stored as a decimal and displayed as a fraction. But we can do the exact opposite thing where we can store the number as a fraction by entering equal 3 divided by 4, Control Enter, and display it as a decimal. Not sure why the distinction would benefit anybody, to be honest with you. There's another thing about decimals. If I just enter 75, Control Enter, I'll get, of course, 75. I'm going to delete that. But there's a way to have Excel automatically insert a number of decimal places that you designate by going backstage, clicking on the File tab, go to the Options, go to the Advanced Options, and the second option is automatically insert a decimal point. The default is 2 places. I'm going to accept the default. So now when I enter 75, Control Enter, Excel automatically inserts a decimal with 2 decimal places. So this can come in handy sometimes if you're entering a lot of content and you want to save yourself 1 keystroke per entry. You can set the number of decimal places to automatically go into the cell. So I've turned that automatic setting off because I don't want it to mess me up with percentages or the scientific notation. So percentages are sort of a strange animal. I'm going to enter first 0.2, which will go in as a decimal, and 20, which will go in as a whole number. And then I'm going to format these cells as a percentage. And I get what you might think we would get. 0.2 is 20%. 20 is 100 times that, which is 2,000%. But here's the weird part. Now that I have those cells formatted as a percentage, when I enter 0.2 into that cell, I get 20%. Not a surprise there. But when I enter 20, Control Enter, I still get 20%. So you get a different result dependent upon whether the cells are formatted as a percentage before or after you enter the values. And in order to get Excel to format the cell as a percent, you would enter the value followed by the percent, and that cell gets reformatted as a percentage. Scientific notation. Scientific notation will happen automatically if you enter a value, a number, that's got 12 or more digits, whether you want it to happen or not. So if I enter a number that's got 11 digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, Control Enter, nothing happens. But if I enter a number that has 12 digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 12, Control Enter, Excel will store that number just the same as it did the other one, but it'll display it in scientific notation. So it's going to move the decimal place and put a notation as to where the decimal place really is in the number with E plus 11. So the decimal place is really 11 places over to the right. If this was a small number, it would be E minus a given number, and you would move the decimal place over to the left. Finally, symbols. Symbols can be found on the Insert tab. Insert, Symbol. And there are all kinds of symbols here. They can come in handy if you need to do things like enter a trademark symbol or a copyright symbol into your spreadsheet, or registered trademark symbol. So I've got the copyright symbol here, and you just select one, left-click Insert, and I'm going to close that, and we have the copyright symbol. Some of these symbols look like they're numbers, like 1/4, Insert. But it's not a number. If you try to perform math on this, you'll get an error message in your formulas and functions. And one of the tells that it's not a number is what? It's left justified. Text gets left justified. Numbers, if this were a number, are by default right justified. So that's entering data. Again, we formatted cells by entering data in specific ways so that we ended up with a result to get our data, our numbers, displayed like we wanted to get them displayed. And we did that with currency, with fractions, with decimals, percentages, and then we took a look at scientific notation and symbols.